Okay. Today's lecture topic is the properties and biological significance of protein. Physical properties of protein. The physical properties of protein include color and taste. Protein are colorless and usually tasteless. These are homogeneous and crystalline. Okay, so proteins are usually colorless and tasteless. They are homogeneous and crystalline. Shape and size. The protein range in shape from simple crystalloid spherical shape structure to long fibrillar structure. Two distinct patterns of the have been recognized. So the protein can either be spherical or fibrillar structure. First, globular proteins. These are the spherical in the shape and occurs mainly in plants, especially in seeds and in leaf cells. These are bundles formed by folding and crumpling of protein chains. Example criteria: pepsin, edestine, inulin, ribonuclease. So they protein crumble or fold on each other, and they will form the globular protein structure. So this globular is another protein structure. Fibrillar means thread-like structure, right? These are the thread-like ellipsoid in the shape and occur generally in the animal muscles. Most of the studies regarding protein structure has been conducted using this protein, right? Like fibrinogen, myosin. Basically, these are the fibrillar protein. Molecular weight. The molecular weight, the protein generally have large molecular weight between the 5 into 10 raised to 3 to 1 into 10 raised to 6. It might be noted that values of molecular weight of many protein lies in close or multiple of 35,000 and 70,000. Okay, so that was about molecular weight. Colloidal nature, because of their giant size, protein exhibit many colloidal properties, such as their diffusion rate are extremely slow, and they produce the considerable light scattering in the solution, resulting in visible turbidity. So if you take the protein solution and if you see like this, the solution will be appearing turbid. Why it will appear turbid? Because as light passes through that solution, the light will be scattered in all direction, and it gives reflection reflection all direction, and it means that protein is a turbid in shape and it has a colloidal property. Okay. Denaturation refers to changes in property of the protein. In other words, it is a loss of biological activity. So, for example, egg albumin is there. If you are boiling egg, before boiling, it is a clear liquid, right, or watery liquid. And after heating that egg, it will be white albumin, right? So, what is that? That is a protein denaturation. In many instances, protein process of denaturation is followed by coagulation, a process where denatured protein molecules tend to form large aggregate and precipitate from the solution. Okay. Sometimes these protein molecules they form aggregate on each other and they will precipitate, and that is the denatured protein, right? So, for example, in egg albumin, we are seeing this one. Okay, that is a coagulation of protein. Amphoteric nature, like amino acids, the proteins are amphoteric. That is, they act as an acid and alkalis both. They migrate in the electric field, and in the direction of migration depend on the net charge possessed by the molecule. So, as we know that amino acid is the amphoteric nature. They have sweeter ion, and once this protein migrate in the electric field, the direction of migration will be depending on the net charge possessed by the molecule. The net charge is influenced by pH values. Each protein has a fixed value of isoelectric point at which it will move in the electric field. So each protein has different amino acid, and different amino acid has its own PI value, isoelectric point value, and overall the protein also has its own PI value, isoelectric point value. Based on that PI value, this protein will migrate in the electric field. So that is the amphoteric nature. Ion binding capacity. Protein can form salt with the both cations and anions based on their net charge. Okay, this protein can form the salts with cation and anion based on their net charge. Solubility. The solubility of protein is influenced by pH. Solubility is the lowest at isoelectric point and increases with increasing acidity or alkalinity. So if protein solubility is lowest at its isoelectric point and it increases either at the acidic level or the alkaline level. This is because when protein molecule exists as either cation or anion, repulsive forces between ions are high since all molecules possess excess charges of the same sign. Okay. So because of these repulsive forces, these molecules start moving, right? Thus, they will be more soluble than in the isoelectric state. So that is solubility. How solubility can be influenced by the pH of the protein or the medium this one, medium pH. Optical activity, all protein solution rotate the plane polarized light to the left. That is their LIGO rotation. So most of protein, they will rotate plane polarized light to the left. If you passing the light through the solution, the plane polarized light will be left. So that is left, we are calling it a LIGO rotatory. Chemical properties of the protein. First is a hydrolysis. Protein are hydrolyzed by a variety of hydrolytic agent. First is a acidic agent. Okay, this one is a acidic agent. Protein upon hydrolysis with the concentrated HCl 6 to 12 normal at 100 to 110 degrees Celsius for 6 to 20 hours yield amino acid in form of their hydrochlorides. Okay, so protein, if you want to hydrolyze protein, we can buy acidic reagent using HCl 100 or 110 degrees Celsius for 6 to 20 hours, and we can form the hydrochlorides. By alkaline agents, protein may be hydrolyzed with two normal NaOH. Okay, so if you have to hydrolyze protein, hydrolyte cleavage of between amino acid, you can either use acidic reagent HCl, or you can use the alkaline reagent, that is NaOH. So we have this HCl 6 to 12 normal or NaOH 2 normal as a hydrolysis agent. The reaction involving COOH group. Next chemical properties are COH group reactions. Okay, first was hydrolysis. Now is the COH group reaction. Reactions with alkali form the salt. If reaction with alcohol happens, it is a esterification. Reaction with amines can also happen. Now reactions involving NH2 group. Reactions with the mineral acid salt formation. When three amino acid or protein are treated with the mineral acids like HCl, acid salts are formed. Okay, so if you are treating amino acid with HCl, we expect the acid salt formation, right? So that is a react. This is because this HCl react with this NH2 group, right? Reaction with formaldehyde. With formaldehyde, hydroxymethyl derivatives are formed. Okay, with formaldehyde, hydroxymethyl derivatives are formed. Reaction with benzaldehyde, sheep base are formed with the reaction with the benzaldehyde. Reaction with nitrous acid, when Skylic reaction, the amino acid react with nitrous acid, HNO2, to liberate the N2 gas, nitrogen gas, and produce the corresponding hydroxy acid. Okay, if you are treating the reaction amino acid with the nitrous acid, it will produce the nitrogen gas and corresponding alpha hydroxy acid. Reaction with acylating agent, acylation. So acylating reagent, if you are reacting this amino group, so acylation will happen. FDNB or Sanger's reagent reaction can occur. Reaction with densyl chloride can occur, which involve the NH2 group. Reaction with both NH2, COH and NH2. So in this case, we have COH and NH2, and some reaction involve both of these together, right? So reaction with a triketohydrin hydrate, that is an anhydrine reaction, involves both COH and NH2. Reaction with a phenyl isocyanate. With phenyl isocyanate, hydantoic acid is formed, which in turn can be converted into hydantoin. Okay, so phenyl isocyanate reaction is there, where hydantoin is being formed. Reaction with a phenyl isocyanate or Edmond reagent, can occur. Reaction with phosgene can occur. Phosgene en carboxy anhydride can form. Reaction with carbon disulfide can form. With the carbon disulfide, 2-thiothiazolidone is produced. Okay, so these are the reactions of which involve both the COOH group and NH2 group. Nihydrin reaction, phenylisothiazine, phenylisothiocyanate, and Edman reagent, phosgene, carbon disulfide. The reaction involving R group or the side chain. Some reactions of the protein are such that they involve R group. So R group, which reactions are influenced by R group? Biuret test, xanthoprotic test, Milan's test, Collins test, Sakaguchi test, Pauli test, Early's test. So this test involves the R group or side chain. Reaction involving SH group. Nitroprusside test, red color develop with the sodium nitroprusside in the nitroprusside test is there. Red color develop with the sodium nitroprusside in dilute NH4OH. The test is specific for the cysteine. Okay, so this nitroprusside test is a specific for uh, cysteine, and it gives the red color formation. Okay, then Sullivan's test is there. Cysteine develop a red color in presence of the sodium 1,2-naphthoquinone 4-sulfonate and sodium hydrosulfide. So this cysteine can give this red color formation. That is a Sullivan's test. So this is basically this involves the SH group. So whenever SH group is the test is there, we have nitroprusside test and Sullivan's test. Biological significance of the protein. So there are different functions of the protein. First one is a growth and maintenance. Protein are needed for the growth and maintenance of tissue. So all the tissues in our body, they need the protein for growth. Because most of muscles are made up of protein. If we have to grow, then we need protein. Proteins are in a constant state of turnover. Okay, so protein doesn't stay constant. It will degrade, again it will accumulate. So likewise, the cycle of turnover will be there. The protein, people recovering from an injury or surgery, older adults and athletes require more protein as well. Okay, so somebody he is having animal, if it is having some injury, then it will need the more protein for recovering from that injury, right? So that is the growth and maintenance. Causes, second function, causes of biochemical reaction. The enzymes are the protein that facilitate the biochemical reactions. For example, pepsin is a digestive enzyme in your stomach that helps to break down the protein in the food. Okay, so all biochemical reactions, they occur because of the metabolic cycle, and all the metabolic cycle, they require enzymes, right? So one substrate has to convert into product. The reaction is very slow. We have to catalyze it with help of enzyme, then only that reaction happen. And that reaction enzyme which present is mainly a protein in the nature. For example, pepsin, which is present in the gastric stomach, is a protein in the nature, provides the energy. Protein can supply body with energy. Okay, so energy can be supplied to the body. Next, acts as a second messenger. Protein hormones, which are chemical messenger that aid in communication between your cells, tissues, and organs. Okay, they act as a messenger. So chemical messenger are there which aid in the communication between the cell. So one cell has to communicate with the other cells. Then we need a messenger, and this protein act as a messenger. Sometimes protein hormones are there, right? Hormones travels inside our body, and they can regulate many functions. For hormone proteins coordinate bodily function. For example, insulin control our blood sugar concentration by regulating the uptake of glucose into cell. So we are eating some glucose diet, and now we want that glucose diet to get absorbed in our tissue cells. Okay, so it doesn't get as a absorbed as such. We need a signal molecule as a hormone, insulin, which will be secreted by pancreas. It will travel in the bloodstream to all the tissues of our body, and after traveling there, it will tell the tissue cells that okay, that glucose is there. You now take it inside with the help of the glucose transporter, right? So that is a function. So if you want to take glucose inside our body also, then also we need protein, right? So this insulin is a protein, as well as this glucose transporter is also protein. So now insulin here is acting as a messenger. Protein hormones, insulin, glucagon, ADH, antidiuretic hormone, ACTH, that is adrenocorticotropin hormone. These are the protein hormone having various functions in our body, right? Provide the structure. Some proteins are fibrous and provide the cells and tissue with stiffness and rigidity. These proteins include collagen, collagen, elastin, which help in the collective framework of the certain structure in our body. Okay, so if we want provide structure to our body, then we need a protein. So basically, keratin, collagen, elastin. These are the proteins present in our body, right? Next, DNA associated protein. Some proteins are having DNA associated protein, like regulate the chromosome structure during the cell division, play a role in regulating gene expression, for example, histone and coenzyme. So some protein are DNA regulation, helping in DNA regulation. So most of our body, how it function based on central dogma. So we have DNA, now it is making RNA, RNA is making protein. Okay, that replication, translation, transcription, translation processes are there, right? So during these processes also this protein is needed. For example, our DNA polymerase is a protein, RNA polymerase is a protein, reverse transcriptase is a protein in nature. So that is how we need a protein. Here histone, or if you have chromosome and we want to file it, we need a histone, which is a protein in the nature. Coenzyme is a protein in the nature. To maintain a proper pH balance, a protein plays an important role in regulating concentration of acid and base in your body. Okay, so acid and base we want to maintain in our body, then that is a acid-base maintenance is a pH function, right? So hemoglobin binds a small amount of acid, helping in the maintenance of the normal pH value of your blood. Okay, so this hemoglobin bind with the small amount of acid, and it will help in the maintaining pH of our body, right? That is a pH maintenance of our body. Next, balances fluid. Protein regulate the body process to maintain the fluid balance. So in order to maintain the fluid balance, we need a protein. Albumin globulins are the protein in the body that help maintain your fluid balance by attracting and retaining water. So whenever animal is having less protein, for example, albumin, there is edema in our body. So animal body can see the at various places the water accumulate. Why it accumulates? Because this albumin and globulin are important in the water regulation, and if they are not working, they are not in the proper concentration, then we have this edema-like condition, right? So that is how it can maintain the fluid balance also, right? Bolster the immunity. Protein helps form immunoglobulin and antibodies to fight infection. So whenever infection is there, we need antibodies in form of immunoglobulins, and these antibody immunoglobulins basically they are protein in nature. So again, one more function of the protein. Next, transports and the store nutrient. So transport protein carries the substances throughout your bloodstream into and out of cell. So this transport protein are important to carry the nutrients into and out of cells. For example, hemoglobin is a protein that carries oxygen from your lung to the tissue. Okay, so hemoglobin is transporting oxygen from your lung to your tissues. Glucose transporter move glucose from your uh, uh, glucose to your cells. Lipoprotein transporters transport the cholesterol and other fats in your body. So different transporters are there inside our body, which are important for the transport inside our body, right? So these transporters are protein in the nature. So these are references. Thank you. So this concludes today's lecture.